There's a story I once heard from an old monk in the mountains of Chiang Mai. He spoke of a man who planted a bamboo seed in his garden, filled with hope, care, and discipline. Each day, the man watered the soil, cleared away weeds, and waited for signs of growth. But weeks passed, then months, then years. Still, the earth remained bare. His neighbors mocked him. "There's nothing there," they said. "You've wasted your time." But the man stayed faithful to the invisible. He continued his quiet tending, trusting that something was happening beneath the surface, even if he could not see it. And then, in the 5th year, something miraculous occurred. The bamboo shoot broke through the ground, and in only 6 weeks, it grew more than 80 feet high. The monk paused, looking into my eyes, and asked, "Do you think it grew in 6 weeks?" "No, it grew in 5 years, underground." That story has stayed with me, because life is often just like that. We push, we strive, we chase outcomes, believing we can force things to happen. But like the bamboo, the most essential growth often happens where no one can see, within. The more we try to control life, the more we tire ourselves. We hold tightly to timing, to outcomes, to people, and in doing so, we forget the quiet power of surrender. But surrender is not giving up. It is choosing to trust, to stop resisting the season we are in, to believe that even when nothing seems to be happening, the roots of our life may be deepening. Today, let us explore that idea together. The art of letting go, not as a weakness, but as a sacred doorway to strength. The strength to stop forcing, the strength to start trusting, and the peace that comes when we allow the universe to deliver in its own divine time. When the universe responds to your vibration, not your desperation. Years ago, I met a woman who always seemed calm, unshakably calm. She didn't rush through life. She didn't cling to outcomes. Yet somehow things always flowed in her favor. Opportunities, relationships, even peace. They all seemed to find her effortlessly. One day I asked her what her secret was. She smiled gently and said, "I stopped begging the universe. I started listening to it." In Buddhist practice, we don't view the universe as random. It's not a machine to be manipulated, nor a puzzle to be solved. It's a mirror, a great echo chamber that reflects the frequency of our inner state. That frequency is what we call vibration. It's the energy we project through our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. And that energy speaks louder than any words, prayers, or plans. If you walk through life carrying anxiety, fear, and desperation, no matter how hard you try to act positive, the vibration you send out is one of lack. And the universe, with quiet precision, responds to that. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are aligned with. But when you release the tight grip of control, when your breath slows and your heart softens, when you begin to trust that what's meant for you cannot miss you, your vibration shifts. It moves from scarcity to sufficiency, from fear to faith, from grasping to allowing. Think of it like tuning a radio. If your dial is set to chaos and urgency, all you'll hear is static. But when you align with stillness, with gratitude, with trust, you tune into a frequency where clarity and abundance already exist. That's when the universe starts to move. Subtly at first, then steadily, then unmistakably. It's not that you stopped wanting, it's that you stopped chasing. And in that stillness, in that inner alignment, you became a magnet for what is truly meant for you. Not through force, but through resonance. So ask yourself gently, not what do I want, but what am I vibrating with today? Desperation or trust? The answer might change everything. 2, you only block what you try to control. There's a certain peace in watching a leaf fall. It doesn't resist the wind. It doesn't cling to the branch. It lets go completely, trusting that where it lands is exactly where it needs to be. But we, humans, often do the opposite. We grip, we grasp, we attempt to hold every detail of our life tightly in our hands, afraid that if we don't control it all, everything will fall apart. We map out the future, we micromanage outcomes, we try to bend time and people to fit the image in our mind. And yet, the tighter we hold, the more things slip through our fingers. In Buddhist wisdom, this grasping is known not as strength, but as suffering. It creates tension not just in our plans, but in our hearts. Control feels like safety, but it's often just fear dressed in discipline, and that fear builds resistance inside us and around us. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. But when you open your palm, the sand stays. Life is much the same. The more we force, the more friction we create. And that friction blocks the very flow we so deeply desire. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the understanding that while your actions matter, your attachment to results does not serve you. You can move with intention. You can take mindful steps, but when you release the need to control how and when things unfold, you open space for life to surprise you. And life, when trusted, has a way of doing just that. There is a deeper intelligence beneath the surface of things, a rhythm that isn't yours to control, but yours to harmonize with. When we step back and allow space, we invite grace to enter, we allow peace to return, and we remember we don't always need to hold on to be held. 3. Silence speaks louder than noise. I once spent 3 days in a mountain monastery where no one spoke a single word. At first, the silence was unbearable. My thoughts raced louder than ever. Every worry, every unfinished task, every insecurity rose to the surface like bubbles in boiling water. But by the second day, something began to shift. The mind, no longer fed by constant noise, began to settle. And in that stillness, I heard something I had forgotten. Myself. We live in a world that never stops speaking. Notifications ping, voices compete, even our thoughts refuse to rest. And so we become addicted to noise. Not just the noise around us, but the internal dialogue that never quiets. It's easy to confuse this noise with progress, but in truth, it often drowns out the wisdom trying to reach us. In Buddhism, silence is not emptiness. It is spaciousness. It is the fertile ground where insight, clarity, and peace naturally grow. Think of a still lake at dawn. Only when the surface is undisturbed can you see the reflection of the sky above and the depths below. Your mind is no different. Only when it becomes quiet can truth emerge. Silence is not a lack of action. It is the most powerful kind of action. The one that listens instead of reacts, observes instead of interferes, trusts instead of rushes. In a noisy world, silence becomes your superpower. It is a quiet rebellion against chaos, a return to your inner home. When you stop filling the space with words, you make room for awareness. You begin to hear life speaking in subtler ways, in intuition, in breath, in feeling. The universe does not always shout. Often it whispers, and only a quiet heart can catch its voice. So if the path feels unclear, perhaps the answer is not to do more, but to be still. In silence, we don't escape the world. We simply remember how to walk through it with grace. 4. Trusting timing. There's a small apple orchard I pass by each spring. The trees stand in quiet rows, bare and humble. No blossoms yet, just branches waiting. One year, a storm swept through early in the season. A few trees, confused by the sudden warmth, bloomed too soon. Their flowers were beautiful, but they didn't last. The cold returned, the blooms withered. And by harvest, those trees bore no fruit. The rest, those that waited, flowered later in their time. Their fruit was slow, but full. We live in a world obsessed with now. We want answers now, love now, success now. But nature does not bloom by force, and neither do we. In Buddhist wisdom, timing is sacred. Life unfolds not according to our schedule, but in rhythm with a deeper intelligence. What feels like delay is often preparation. What looks like stillness is often invisible transformation. Just because nothing seems to be moving doesn't mean the roots aren't deepening. But we panic. We worry that time is running out. We try to rush the process, pull things into place before they are ready, and in doing so, we disturb the natural flow of becoming. Trusting timing means allowing space. It means understanding that you are not late, that your path is not broken, that the universe has not forgotten you. Think of all the moments you thought you were being denied, only to realize later you were being protected, or redirected, or made ready for something far more aligned. To trust timing is not to wait passively. It is to act mindfully, with presence, and then release the need to force results. It is knowing that your energy, calm, open, patient, is doing more than any frantic effort ever could. When the time is right, the door will open, the call will come, the shift will happen, and it will feel natural, not because you made it so, but because you finally stopped pushing. So breathe, water the seed, trust the soil, the season will come. 5. You attract what you believe you deserve. He sat across from me, eyes cast downward, fingers fidgeting. A kind man, hardworking, generous, but deeply tired. Why does everything good slip away from me? He asked. Why does life always feel just out of reach? I paused and asked gently, do you truly believe you deserve good things? He looked up, surprised. I don't know, he said. Maybe not. That moment stayed with me, because what we believe about ourselves shapes the entire landscape of our lives, not loudly, but quietly, in the way we make decisions, in what we tolerate, in how we receive love or turn it away. In Buddhism, we understand that reality begins from within. The world you experience is not just what happens outside you, but what you project from the inside. And that projection begins with belief. If you believe you are worthy of peace, you begin to choose it. If you believe you are deserving of love, you stop chasing those who withhold it. And if you believe abundance is possible, you stop shrinking to fit a life of scarcity. The universe responds to this inner state, not out of judgment, but out of resonance. It doesn't give you what you want with your words. It gives you what you affirm through your energy. If you walk through life carrying the belief, I am not enough, then you will unconsciously push away everything that says otherwise. But when you begin to shift, when you say quietly but clearly, I deserve peace, something changes. Not just in your vibration, but in your choices. You start to step into better relationships. You take opportunities that once scared you. You set boundaries where once you stayed silent. Deserving is not entitlement, it's remembrance, a returning to your own sacred worth. No one outside you has to validate it. When you embody it, the universe reflects it through synchronicities, open doors, and moments of grace. So if life keeps offering less, perhaps it's not because you're unworthy. Perhaps it's because your belief hasn't yet caught up to your truth. And the truth is this: you are already enough. When you live as though that's true, everything begins to align. 6. Calmness is a manifestation in itself. There was a fisherman I once knew in a coastal village. He never rushed, never raised his voice. While others sailed out before dawn, shouting and scrambling to beat each other to the tide, he would wait. He watched the clouds, read the waves, and launched his boat only when the sea was still. People called him lazy. But by evening, while others came back empty or battered by storms, he returned with nets full and a heart unshaken. His secret wasn't luck. It was calm. We're conditioned to believe that manifestation is about effort, about vision boards, relentless focus, and always doing more. But in Buddhist understanding, true manifestation doesn't begin with action. It begins with alignment. And calmness is the foundation of that alignment. When you are calm, your energy becomes clear. You are no longer pulled by fear or pushed by urgency. You act, not from desperation, but from clarity, not from lack, but from fullness. Calmness is not the absence of doing. It's the presence of peace within the doing. It's rowing your boat not in panic, but with rhythm. It's knowing that rushing won't bring the shore closer, only cloud your mind and exhaust your spirit. When your inner world is agitated, even the right opportunities slip by. You don't see them. You don't trust them. But when you're calm, you become magnetic. You attract not by demand, but by presence. Think of a clear pond. It reflects the sky without effort. That's how calmness works. It doesn't chase, it receives. So if your manifestations feel stuck, ask yourself, is your mind a storm or a still lake? Are you moving from fear or from faith? To embrace calmness is to trust that the universe already knows what you need. Your job isn't to chase it. Your job is to become ready to receive. And sometimes the most powerful step forward is simply to be still. 7. When you let go, you make space for miracles. She was holding on too tightly to a job that drained her, a relationship that no longer breathed, a version of herself shaped by old fears. She said, "I'm afraid that if I let go, I'll lose everything." I asked softly, "But what if by holding on, you're keeping everything stuck?" We are taught that if we want something, we must chase it, fight for it, force it into form. But Buddhist wisdom invites a different path, one not of resistance, but of release. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about giving space. When we cling, whether to plans, people, or outcomes, we contract. Our energy becomes tight, narrow, limited. And in that narrowness, nothing new can enter. It's like trying to pour tea into a cup already full. Until you empty it, the flavor of something new cannot be tasted. Letting go is like opening a window in a stuffy room. It invites fresh air, perspective, life. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. You stop believing that your grip is the only thing holding the world together. In the stillness that follows surrender, something unexpected happens. Space is created. And space is where miracles grow. Not always dramatic ones. Sometimes the miracle is clarity, or peace, or simply the quiet confidence that you are no longer swimming upstream. Think of the tree that releases its leaves in autumn. It doesn't mourn their falling, it trusts the cycle. It knows that letting go is not the end, but preparation for something new. When we surrender truly, deeply, we say to the universe, "I trust you." And that trust becomes the opening through which grace flows. So if life feels heavy, perhaps the next step isn't to hold tighter. Perhaps it's to release, to exhale, to open your hands and heart, and watch as space becomes possibility. Because the moment you let go is the moment you begin to receive. As this reflection draws to a close, I invite you to take one quiet breath, deep, steady, present. Let it remind you that you don't need to chase, to force, or to grip so tightly. Life is already moving. The seeds are already planted. And the moment you let go is the moment you begin to receive. If today's message brought you even a little peace, I gently ask you to share this video with someone who may be holding on too tightly, someone who needs to hear that it's okay to trust the timing of their life. And if this space speaks to you, if you find comfort in stillness, in mindful stories, in the wisdom of letting go, I invite you to subscribe to Light of Buddhism. This is more than a channel. It is a resting place for those walking through noise, seeking clarity, seeking themselves. Leave a comment below and share with me. What are you choosing to release today? Until we meet again, may you continue to walk gently, trust deeply, and receive fully. Everything you need is already on its way.